So, welcome. My name is Morgan Freshour. I am the Assistant Director of the Office of Student and Family Support. I'll be your MC tonight. This panel will go for approximately an hour. It will be recorded and it will be sent out to y'all after it is recorded. We will make sure to get that sent out to you before the end of the week. Ooh, there we go. So a few introductions before we get into our panelists tonight. The Office of Student and Family Support, our Bluejay Family Network. We really just wanted to share the different opportunities that you have to plug in and get connected with us. We have our Bluejay Family newsletter, our Bluejay Family live panels, which you are currently at. We have our Bluejay Family social media accounts, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. How you can reach us is family@creighton.edu, as well as our Bluejay Family portal, which is where we often post our recordings of our Bluejay Family lives. Lastly, if you have a question that you would like to call us about, you can reach out to the Success Desk. The phone number is on the screen, 402-280-1212. Like we like to say, if you don't know what to do, call 1212 and we'd be happy to help you. Next, we just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to our Golden Go Jays Bluejay family sponsors, Cobalt Credit Union and Kookaburra Cookies. They are awesome partners and the cookies are delicious. So if you're ever looking for a snack, they're great. Next, I want to introduce our panelists for this evening. We have Janet Solberg, the Director of Financial Aid. We have Dr. Chrissy Fedden, who is the Director of Academic Success, as well as Sharice Williams, who is the Senior Assistant Dean of the Heider College of Business. Each of these folks will be giving some more insight into understanding satisfactory academic progress. So next, we will go ahead and get started with Janet from Financial Aid. Janet, it's your turn. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Morgan. Hi, everyone. My name is Janet Solberg, and I am the Director of Financial Aid. And I'm going to explain to you just exactly what satisfactory academic progress is and the effect that it will have on your financial aid, on the financial aid for the student, both the federal financial aid as well as institutional financial aid. So first, we're just going to look at the definitions. So first, it's satisfactory academic progress, or SAP, once a year. And we do that at the end of every spring semester. And we look at a couple of different things. The first thing that we look at is a qualitative measure. And how we do that is we look at the student's GPA. And it's important to know that it's always the cumulative GPA. So a student, if they have a rough semester, they still have another semester to kind of work and improve that so that when we do look at it at the end of the year, it is that cumulative. So it's not a term by term GPA that we look at. In order for a student to be meeting satisfactory academic progress, as a freshman, they need to be making a GPA of 1.75. And then from sophomore through senior year, they need to be at a 2.0 or above. Again, that is the cumulative GPA. The next thing that we look at is a quantitative measure, and that is what we call PACE. So what we have to do is we have to ensure that students are making proper PACE. And what that means is that they are successfully completing at least 75% of all courses that they attempt. Courses that they do not successfully complete would be any type of a W class, so class that they withdrew, and also an F. So we review again on a cumulative basis. So we look at all of the courses for that year. If it's a freshman, it's be the fall and semester. And then it's again a cumulative of all the terms as they continue. And we just basically divide those. And if a student is at a 75% completion rate, they are meeting that satisfactory academic progress PACE measure. And if not, then they are failing. The other thing that we have to look at is we have to ensure that a student completes their degree within 150% of the semester hours of the intended degree program. So this would be close to the student has to complete it within, around 8 years. Most students in the undergrad programs do not meet, fail that. So the two that you really want to pay attention to is that GPA as well as the 75% PACE. So what happens if you fail SAP? Let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Morgan. So what happens is, again, we review at the end of the spring term. If a student fails the SAP, they do lose their Title IV financial aid, any loans or grants, as well as any institutional scholarships. However, we email the student letting them know that they have failed the SAP, but then we also tell them what they can do to rectify the situation and regain their eligibility. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about there's really a three-step process that a student has to complete in order for them to regain eligibility of both, again, federal financial aid and institutional financial aid. First off, the student needs to write a letter and send it to the financial aid office, basically explaining what led to them not being able to meet satisfactory academic progress. We encourage students to include as much information as possible to explain. It could be they had a death in the family, they had some medical issues. There's a myriad of reasons, and we are sympathetic to each one of those. And so we just need to have an understanding as to why the student wasn't successfully educationally, and then what things have changed and what things that they are putting into place in order for them to be successful as they come back in the fall term. So they're going to write that letter. They can provide any type of documentation, which could include medical records, just any other additional things, just to help to explain the situation. The second step of that is that the student is going to meet with their academic advisor to discuss and create an academic plan for that next term. What we want to do is we want to make sure that the student and their academic advisor are working together to, again, set them up for success. Once they have met, they have agreed upon an academic plan, the college is actually going to email me back and tell me that, Johnny's academic plan has been approved and he can move forward in the satisfactory academic progress process. So then once I have step 1 and step 2 completed, we can send that information to our appeal committee. It is reviewed, and then at that point, a decision letter would be sent back to the student, and letting them know the outcome of the appeal, and then also letting them know that their funds have now become eligible for any type of federal funds and or institutional funds. So that is the definitions of SAP of what we do, as well as the process to regain eligibility back for those financial aid.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Janet. And folks, I'm sorry, I meant to mention that if you have any questions throughout our Bluejay Live panel, please use our Q&A function, which is found at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them there. We will have a Q&A time at the very end. So we just want to make sure that if you do have questions, feel free to start putting them there if you think of them. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Christy Fedden, who is the Director of the Office of Academic Success. Christy, take it away.
Thanks, Morgan, and thank you, Janet. I appreciate to all of you who are watching, whether it's live or you're watching this as a recording. This probably feels like a lot. And all of us here on our panel and all of us at Creighton, we're here to support you and support you through this process. And we also know that there are events that happen. Transitions can be challenging when we're looking at making that shift from high school into a higher education education, college setting. So we know there's a lot of different things that can impact you personally as a student, and impact that progress. So we are here, and I'm here to represent the Office of Academic Success and to talk a little bit more about some of the resources and the supports and the ways that we can walk with you on this journey. So the first part is introducing you to the amazing team that we have on our Creighton campus. And if anyone happened to watch this for any reason, if you are on our Phoenix campus, we also have academic support there as well. But our team here, you can see that we have myself as a director, we have an associate director, Tanya Plater, and Tanya also works with our grad and professional students. We have an associate director, Jeremy, assistant director, Becca. We have an assistant director in the College of Nursing, Richie. So if you're a College of Nursing student, you've probably met him. And we have an assistant director for our TRIO SSS program in Molina. So we have this team of professionals who's ready to jump in. And as Janet talked about the different reasons or the different ways that you can meet criteria for satisfactory academic progress, I think what's really important and where my office can step in and support is to identify the why. And that's part of the letter. If you choose to appeal and move forward with that process, it's really important to really reflect and understand why. So what are those underlying reasons that kept you from being as successful as you wanted to be? So again, as Janet mentioned, there could be life circumstances. We know the impact of trauma, and if there are unexpected events that impact you, that's why we have temporary withdrawals and some other tools that we have available to support students. But we also have a wealth of resources available to support you if in fact part of this journey is you realizing that maybe the transition into college or moving into some higher level rigorous courses and being able to manage all of the course load and the reading and the projects and all of that has been overwhelming and causing you to maybe not be as successful as you would like. I'm going to go through a couple of slides here and just share some of the resources that are available to you. So on our next slide, you will see here, this is just a really quick overview of what the Office of Academic Success can provide. And for all students at all levels, my favorite thing to say is that there is no additional cost for any of these resources. And we have all of us that were introduced on our team, we serve as professional academic coaches. So if you are learning how to manage executive function skills, for example, or again, you just have that sense of overwhelming, you're struggling with preparing for exams, all of those things that can really be a barrier to your academic success, we have resources that can address those. So we have content support. So if you need to access some of our tutoring services, we have a variety of different ways that we can support students. And I'll show you that in just a minute. And dig into that a little bit deeper. But I really want to point out that tutoring is not a remedial activity, and it's not intended to be for students who are not successful academically. It certainly is available for all students, but think of tutoring as a way to really supplement the instruction that you're receiving in your courses. So thinking of it in those terms and being able to access that can be a really great way to bridge the gap if you are struggling with either retention or kind of managing all of that high content knowledge that you experience in college. The other thing that we can do, I talked a little bit about academic coaching, and our coaching is student driven. So you as the student, you are the one that kind of drives that relationship as far as looking at the topics that we focus on. We can help with accountability. So if you are just struggling with making choices and you just need somebody to make sure that you actually went and studied when you said you were going to study, our team can help you with that. So we have all of those resources set up. And again, in a couple of slides, I'm going to show you about our success hubs if you haven't already discovered those. We also have some academic intervention supports, and all of these tools and resources, as you can see here, we are a complement to the academic plan. I know Charisse will be able to join us here shortly, and she is going to talk a little bit about the Dean's office and the Dean's perspective and what that academic plan means when you're talking about satisfactory academic progress. So on the next slide, I want to share just a couple of additional resources. We have success hubs in our first year residence halls, and these success hubs are available for all students, commuter students, even if you are not a first year student and you would like to access some additional support. Our success hubs starting this August are going to be open until 9 o'clock in the evening. And we will have graduate students who are available Sundays through Thursday evenings. And then during the day, we will have an Office of Academic Support team member. So whether it is one of my colleagues, I will be out in the residence halls as well to be available to provide some on-site coaching. Because what we know is if you are in your residence hall in the evening and maybe the weather isn't great, you do not want to pack it all up and head to another location. So we are there, we're convenient, we're available where students are residing and hanging out, and that's really intentional. So we want to provide that right amount of support and that right level of support right where you reside and right where you live. So again, scattered all across the campus. So success hubs are one of the really key ways that we can support students. And we'll also be providing different programming. So maybe as you're processing through this satisfactory academic progress and really reflecting on the barriers that interfered or got in the way with your progress, maybe you don't necessarily need those more intensive services, but you might want to do some brush up on exam prep techniques, or maybe you need some support creating a weekly schedule. All of those events will be available throughout the course of the fall semester here in particular. We're going to have supports right away to help you get off to a great start as we resume in August. And on the next slide, we have an outline of some of our, again, some really intentional tutoring supports, and we are so excited about this. You can see here, we have peer-to-peer tutoring available in over 110 courses. And I have talked with a lot of students, and I'm fully aware that it is much easier to go and talk with a peer than it is to come to talk with maybe an academic coach. So we try to make it as easy and accessible as possible. And one of the ways we can do that is by providing very extensive peer tutoring options. And those peer tutoring options are available Sunday through Thursday in our Success Center, which Morgan has already mentioned as a great resource and a great tool for you to remember. And also, we provide some different types of tutoring depending on some of our science courses. So if you are in a particular class that has an attached tutor or supplemental instruction, more information will be provided to you from that particular faculty member. But attached tutoring is really cool. So we assign a successful peer who has demonstrated their proficiency in that course. They actually attend the class, they take notes, and then they generate those study sessions for students. So it's really, really powerful and effective. Supplemental instruction is primarily focusing on our nursing courses right now, although we are hoping to expand in the future. But this is where we actually have students, again, they attend class, they take notes, but then they provide supplemental instruction to really deepen and strengthen knowledge from courses. So we believe we have a really premier level of tutoring options available for students. We also have one-on-one appointments available by appointment. So all of these things, if any of it is intriguing to you, again, as you're reflecting on your academic journey, and you're really thinking about, what is my why? What really got in the way? And as you're honing in on that, be thinking about how you can access and leverage these resources. And I would say if you don't know the why or you're struggling with it and you're having a hard time kind of figuring out what's exactly getting in the way, that's what academic coaching can do for you as well. So we have a whole team of professionals. For example, I have a 31-year background working with students who have learning differences. So I'm really excited about academic coaching and love to provide that support for students. So as you can see here, we have lots of different ways that we can provide that support. If you are also, I'm going to put a plug in here for my colleagues over at Student Accessibility Services. So if you are a student who perhaps one of the reasons you had to take a temporary withdrawal or maybe weren't as successful as you thought you possibly potentially could be because you maybe have a newly diagnosed medical condition or other potential area that could potentially qualify for accommodations, we really encourage you to reach out to Student Accessibility Services. It's important to know not every medical diagnosis does qualify for accommodations, but it's certainly worth exploring that and making sure that we're just really giving you all of the tools that you need to be as successful as you can and to access this amazing learning environment that we have here at Creighton. So with that, I'll look forward. If there are any questions or anything here at the end, I'm happy to answer those. But thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Christy.
Mhm.
Again, folks, if you want to use that Q&A function to ask any questions, feel free to do so. We'll have an opportunity for Q&A at the very end, but if you have questions now, go ahead and send them that way. Oop. Next, I would like to introduce Sharice Williams, who is the Senior Assistant Dean in the Hyder College of Business. Sharice, take it away. She may need a moment. So again, if you have questions, feel free to do so in the Q&A function, and we would happily answer any of those questions. I believe there's some technical difficulties, so give one moment. Perfect. Okay. I believe, Sharice, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I don't know if I can start my video, but I can hear you for sure.
Okay. Let's see. I think you should be able to, but if you're not able to, I can still pass it over to you to present over the next couple of slides.
Yes, perfect, please.
Awesome. There you go.
Okay, so my name is Sharice Williams, and I am the Assistant Dean in the Hyder College of Business. In general, there are academic rules or academic policies, we call them academic actions, that must happen at the end of every official academic semester. So academic actions are only reviewed from the college perspective in the end of the fall semester, which would be December, and the end of the spring semester, which will be May. So a couple of things I'd like to share in our observations of people and students who need to get their GPAs up is that number one, the fastest way to get your GPA up is to repeat classes. In Hyder, you must retake grades of F, and F is a failing grade. Sadly, D's get degrees, and a D, like David, is a passing grade, believe it or not. In most cases, unless it is a major class or a college requirement, a D could be a passing grade. But as the slide says, you may retake a grade of C minus or lower. But typically with the C minus, I'm going to tell you to just keep chugging along. If you want to go retake calculus because you got a D in Math 245, you can do that. But in most cases, a C minus is a passing grade, and a D for most colleges is a passing grade. But I encourage all students to speak to their specific college, especially the College of Nursing has specific requirements. But most likely the College of Business and the College of Arts and Science are more closely in line. Second, I encourage you to reach out to a grown-up. I say, like, who is your CU adult? It could be your academic advisor in your college. It could be your friend's advisor because your friend says, oh my gosh, go talk to Sharice because she's fabulous. True story. Or it could be go talk to Dr. Christie in the Office of Student Support, or go talk to Dr. Reedy because he advises pre-health students. We just want you to reach out to an adult and we will help you figure out who to contact from there. More than likely, it is someone in your dean's office. Each college, the Hyder College of Business, the College of Nursing, or the College of Arts and Sciences has full-time academic advisors beyond your faculty advisor. And the next tip I have is get to know the people who work the front desk. I can't tell you how many times that my assistant will say, so-and-so came in and they were upset, or so-and-so came in and they need to know this real quick. So, I don't know, my dean is big on knowing all of the people who help you be successful. And oftentimes that is the frontline person, the receptionist, or whoever greets you at the front. Know your deadlines. I would bookmark here our Creighton.edu registrar, who is our official record keeper of the university. Real quick, I gave some dates for the fall semester so that you can drop, add, or make changes using the nest until Monday, August 25th. We all know classes start, I think, Tuesday, the 19th. But the general rule for Creighton is that in the first 5 business days, I think I might need some backup on that, but typically for the first 5 business days of the semester, students can add, drop, or make changes without penalty. Even though the last day to withdraw officially on the nest is August 25th, I think that I see that date is incorrect, but we typically allow you to change your classes through the rest of the second week or the full week of the semester, because we want to make sure that everyone has at least, I'm going to say, 2 contact dates in their class to make sure that they have the correct information. Registration is typically always after the spring breaks or fall break. So I like to think when you're on fall break or spring break having fun, always think about, oh my gosh, it's almost time to register for the next semester. So spring break and fall break, typically a couple weeks after that will be registration. And typically after you come back from break, my pro tip is contact your advisor to start talking about the upcoming semester. The next tip is to review all of your syllabi and create a bird's eye view for assignments and exams. I typically advise my students to register for the classes that they need, but make sure that you know when all the dates and deadlines for papers and exams are due. It's good to know in advance. Oh my gosh, I have 3 exams on this one day. I might have to make arrangements for that. Or, oh my gosh, there's no way that I could do all of this in one semester. Maybe I'm taking an extra class that I shouldn't be taking. Either way, the best way to determine a bird's eye view of the expectations of the semester are to attend the first day of your classes and receive that syllabus so that you can do some planning in advance and know what you're expected to complete. My last pro tip is each of our students go through an RSP, which is, I like to say, like homeroom for college students. Your RSP advisor is typically your academic advisor, but that RSP class in fall also came with a senior leader who may be graduated by now. They may be a junior, so it's not too late to reach out, but also a sophomore leader. And it's important to remember that these students have been through what our freshman students have been through, and they are just a wealth of information. If you are a little bit apprehensive about contacting your grown-up or your adult, we really encourage you to reach out to your sophomore leader or that senior or junior leader in your RSP class, because remember, they have been through all of the feelings and all of the things that you have been through yourself. I think that's it, Morgan. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Trace. So next is question time for y'all who are watching. I know one question has already come through, and the question is tuition remission tied to SAP? Janet, can you answer that one?
Sure, I'd be happy to. My answer is it depends, because of the fact that a lot of times tuition remission for employees or dependents of employees at Creighton, those individuals are also receiving Title IV funding, or there could be a change in that where a student may no longer be eligible for the tuition remission. So I would say it depends. We can review on a case-by-case basis. My suggestion is to potentially complete the process anyways, because it's also a nice, especially to be able to meet with that academic advisor and really come up with that academic plan in order to be successful in the coming year.
Awesome. Thank you. Christy, there's a question for you about does it matter what academic coach a student goes to? Is there a certain assigned academic coach or can they go to anyone?
Great question. So we do try, if we have students who were in either one of the classes that we teach or we're somehow connected with one of our team members, we'll try to keep that consistency if that's what the student wants. But otherwise, all of us are trained, all of us, are available. Our top priority is getting as quickly as we possibly can, responding to student needs. So we will do that in the quickest and most efficient way possible. But yes, we'll try our very best if you've been working with someone to keep that relationship consistent.
Awesome. Thank you. So just as a reminder, if you all have any questions or you don't know what to do, you can call 1212, our success desk phone number, which is 402-280-1212. And again, if you have any questions after this live panel, you can email family@creighton.edu, and we'd be happy to connect you to the right person if you have that question about, or any support that you may need or have questions, we can answer them there for you. I just want to give an extra thank you to our panelists tonight, Christy, Janet, Sharice. Y'all are awesome. Again, thank you all for tuning in tonight, and I hope you have a great evening. Thank you.